Behind these walls is where I found freedom. I spent over 2,000 days in prison, learning more about myself in this life than I ever could have thought possible.
Just behind these walls, I spent 17,520 hours changing my life. And when I teamed up with Sean, it was to change 1 billion lives for the better. Join us today and level up and become the architect of your greatest life.
What's going on, you guys? We got another edition of Convicted Mindset. My name's Sean Michael Crane, co-founder, and today I want to talk with you about my last day in prison. Now, I use my time of incarceration and the stories that I share with you to pinpoint a learning lesson that helped me to change my life. Everything I went through in prison has served me to this day, okay? I'm a life coach, I'm a speaker, I have a beautiful family who I love and adore. I'm at home right now in my home office. Now, I say none of this to say, oh, look at me. I want you to know that whatever you're going through in life, if you apply these strategies and use the strength of your mind and the willpower that you have within you to persevere, you can not only get through challenging times in your life, but you can create something really special, not just for you, your family, your community, your friends, whatever it is that you want to do. Within you is that ability, right? Now, I come from nothing, and I've been able to create a life that I truly love and cherish. I talk about it all the time, whether it's on Instagram, YouTube, any social media platform. Not to say, look at me, but to say, look what's possible. I went to prison and came out and made something of myself. Look what's possible. When you let go of the excuses, you let go of your BS, you change your mindset, you can achieve anything that you want. And I truly believe that. So today I want to talk with you about what it was like getting out of prison after 5.5 years. Can you imagine the anticipation? Can you imagine feeling that way? Knowing you're going to get out, thinking about getting out of prison every day for 2,000 days, and the day finally comes. And when it did, of course I was ready. I was up at 3 o'clock, drinking my instant Folgers, waiting for them to call my name. My brother and sister were gonna come pick me up. I was out in the desert, way out in the middle of nowhere in California, right on the border of Arizona and Mexico. So they had a long drive. So they were already on their way. And we had talked about what we were gonna do. They're gonna pick me up. We were gonna go right back to the coast in Southern California where I'm from. And man, I was just envisioning it for weeks and weeks, trying to block it out because you don't wanna think about that last day until it comes. And when it finally did, I was up and ready. I had my bag over my shoulder of my possessions. I had my prison blues on, and I was ready to take on the world. You know, I'd spent that whole time being incarcerated to improve myself, and I felt that I could come home and do something really great and special with my life. But I did not expect what I was going to face or experience that day. So I'm waiting, it's 4:30, 5 a.m., shift change starts to take place, and I noticed that they haven't called anybody's name who's supposed to parole that day. Now, they typically do this before shift change at 6 a.m., so I'm thinking the worst. You know, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what's going on? Did they get my date wrong? Did something else come up that's gonna prevent me from getting out? Your mind just starts playing the worst imaginary scenarios, right? And then, they finally did call my name. I had to go up to the podium and let them know, what's going on, Crane, I'm supposed to parole. And they finally called me out, but they called me out a couple hours late. So I'm on the yard, the sun's coming up, shift change is taking place, so they don't allow me to go to the front to R&R where you get released. Now, I'm sitting there and I have my bag of possessions, everything I own to my name, some books, some journals that I kept, some paperwork, and that's it. And I'm just sitting there waiting, thinking about my journey to this point, thinking about what my future is gonna be like. And all of a sudden, I hear them start to release the buildings for chow. Now, if you've ever been to prison, you know when someone gets out, they might have a couple people that wish them well, but most of the individuals are showing hidden resentment. Most of the individuals won't even say goodbye to you because they don't even want to think about the fact that you're going home and they have to spend another day in that concrete box. They don't want to think about you being on the street with your girl or just able to walk freely and do what you want, hug your family members, and they're stuck behind the walls. So when they started releasing the buildings for chow, I thought it was a bad thing. I thought these guys were going to walk by me. They were just going to look at me and keep going, and they were going to be, kind of resentful, bitter, angry, jealous. And I saw it all the time when people got out. I saw it all the time. So as the buildings started walking around to go to chow, there was 4 buildings being released. So there's over 1,000 men walking out on the yard. I'll never forget this moment. I'll never forget this. Off in the distance, I see the first group of guys coming towards me. And as they get closer, I hear, Captain America, go get him, brother. And I couldn't believe it. They used to call me Captain America in prison, kind of clowning on me because I have no tattoos. I had blonde hair and I'd work out every day and I kept myself in really good shape. And as the buildings walked by, I can't even count how many individuals yelled over to me, wishing me well on my journey. Nothing but positive remarks. Guys that I had never even talked to yelled over to me to wish me well. And I had spent a lot of time working as a counselor in SAP. I had spent tons of time in prison, mentoring other inmates, working out with them, showing them how to enroll in college courses, and just helping them to think positively about themselves and their life. Mentoring other people and working with other people is what I love to do. And I did it because that's what I felt my heart was right. I never did it to say, look at me, or to get a pat on the back. I did it because I really wanted to help people. So as these guys are walking, around the track, going to chow, and they're going to eat slop, man. They're spending another day, another month, another decade in prison. And for them to look over at me and yell something positive in my direction, it showed me so much about how people are always watching you. People are always observing your character and conduct, even when you don't even think they are, even when you don't even think they like you. A lot of these guys I never spoke to. Most of them were from other buildings, and we'd see each other in passing at SAP. They'd see me on the yard every day, consistently taking action to better myself. And these individuals who I had never spoke to yelled over at me and wished me well. And it was such a special moment for me because I had spent all that time in prison, fighting to get home, fighting to improve myself, fighting to make something of myself, somebody that I was proud of when I went to sleep at night. And I did it for me, man. I did it for redemption, for that boy that lost his dreams, whose parents split apart and abandoned him, who everything was crushed as a youngster for me. And I was heartbroken because of that. And when I went to prison, I took it upon myself as a challenge that I was going to find redemption. I was going to do it for that kid. He didn't deserve that. So the whole time it was for me. It was so I could go to sleep at night feeling peace. So I could go to sleep at night feeling proud of who I was and the way I was living my life, despite the fact that I was incarcerated. That meant sobriety, no drugs or alcohol. That meant every day I was working out. Every day I was reading. Every day I was writing. I was immersing myself in my personal development and growth because it meant that much to me. Because I was this close to losing everything. And I understood how precious and invaluable life was on a level and a magnitude that most could never understand. So every day in there, I made count. Every day, I truly felt grateful for life and the second chance I was getting. And other people saw that. They picked up on that energy and they let me know on that last and final day. I wasn't even supposed to be out there. I was supposed to be up at the front of the prison, already gone, already getting my dress outs. But for some reason, shift change or somebody messed up and I was on the yard when they were released for chow. And I'll never forget that. The thing that stood out to me the most was your attitude and your effort. That's what people are going to remember you by. Your kids, your wife, your significant other, your community, anybody, your friends, your coworkers, anybody that you come into contact with, when they think about you years down the road, or when people are coming to talk about you at your funeral, your celebration of life, or your name comes up in a conversation, the main thing that is going to stand out to them is your attitude and your effort. Were you a good person? Were you genuine? Were you authentic? Did you have integrity, right? What kind of effort did you give? Did you go above and beyond, or did you cut corners? Were you that person that left early and checked out and always wanted more for less time? Were you that person that just made excuses and kind of took shortcuts in life? Like, these are the things that are going to stand out. And I'm sure right now as I'm sharing this with you, you can think of someone, whether it was a family member, someone you came across in life who just had a really good attitude and disposition about them that made you feel good every time you're around them. Every time you talked to them, they uplifted you. Right? They made you feel like a better version of yourself. You left that conversation feeling better than you were when you showed up. Or you could think about someone at work or someone you worked out with or in a relationship, whatever it is, think about it, who really gave a lot of effort. They always went above and beyond. They never sold themselves short. They never took the easy way out. And we all admire that. We look at those people in society. We look at those people with good work ethic, right? In athletics, in the NFL, and the NBA, like you hear people talk about it all the time. Kobe Bryant, he had the best work ethic. No one would ever outwork him. And we admire that because deep down inside, that's how we want to be. If you want to start changing your life and being someone that others look up to and just feel proud of who you are, you don't have to have these big, massive accomplishments. If you're starting from the bottom like I did with nothing, simply focus on your attitude and your effort every day. Give your best effort and have the best attitude. That's how you're going to start to change your mindset over time, and it's going to change your life. I promise you that. One of the best feelings in the world is when you know other people want to emulate you, or you left a dinner or a party or an event, and they're talking about you in a positive way. Now, we don't do things just because we want to impress others, but we want to leave everyone in our wake better off than they were before we showed up, right? That's true impact. That's leadership, right? That's the type of individual I wanted to be. So when I left prison, knowing that I had that impact on strangers, it gave me a deep sense of gratitude and fulfillment, because I know that I made every day count in prison, and it didn't just help and benefit me, but it benefited other guys too, unbeknownst to me at the time. So I came out with this mindset and perspective. Like, if I show up and do a good job and, I put forth energy and I'm motivated, I can get ahead in life. This is going to be an asset for me. Prison was an asset. I learned how to sharpen this tool. And so that gave me an advantage coming home. And I'll get to my journey into entrepreneurship and coaching in another segment. But today I want to talk about what I did when I got out of prison. Putting those dress outs on, putting the Nike shorts on, the shoes, the shirt that my brother sent in. It was something that I had been waiting for years. Just the thought of putting on regular clothes brought me so much excitement and joy. It's the little things, man. If you've ever been in that situation, you understand that. It's the little things that we take for granted out here that you look forward to so much. So putting on those clothes, I felt like it's real. Like, I'm gonna get out of prison. Like, they're not just gonna say it was a mistake and go back to your cell. And I put those Nikes on, man. I put those shorts on, and it was like, wow, you did it. You got through that time. Now this next chapter of your life is in front of you. You're gonna make it count. Like, let's go. And that was my attitude. And I'll never forget, they put you in a little bus or a little van and drive you out beyond the gates of the prison, beyond the guard tower and everything, where your family and people are waiting for you. And I was in the van. I was the last person to get out. And I had my bag of stuff. And I stepped out into the back of the van, and that sunshine, man, just came piercing in and blinded me. It was early in the morning in the desert, and you're not used to seeing such bright colors, right? And I'll never forget just the vivid landscape of the desert, all these colors, cactuses, bushes, like mountains off in the distance, the blue sky. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. And I let out this howl, like this howl that I've been holding in, all this energy, all this like passion, all this emotion that I've been holding on to for years. I let it out, and I just howled up at the sky, like, I'm free, I'm ready, let's go. And my sister was right there, and I could just see her silhouette. And she had this blonde hair blowing in the breeze. She looked like a Greek goddess, man. I went up and I gave her a hug, and my brother was there and I gave him a hug. And then we were off. And for about 30 minutes, I had my head out of her sunroof. I was standing up on the seat, and I was just yelling. I was just yelling, tears of gratitude pouring down my face. So much energy, so much passion. I just overcome the biggest challenge of my life, and I felt like the world was at my fingertips, and I was ready to go all in to create that life I've been dreaming of every night in prison. And that day we went to Huntington Beach, California, and it just so happened to be October, and there was this heat wave coming through California. It was like 95 degrees, and I wanted to go to the ocean. I hadn't seen the ocean in half a decade. And we went down to the beach, and the waves were like 6-7 feet. There was a huge swell. The waves were huge, and there was surfers everywhere. And we're walking by this little hut, and there's this little hut where you can rent surfboards. And my brother looks at me, he's like, dude, should we go surf? How long since you surfed? Because we're from California. Growing up as kids, you go surf, you skateboard, you do all the things, right? Southern California, there's a lot of stuff to do growing up here. And we rented surfboards for an hour, and we paddled out in these huge waves, and we were just getting smashed on the way out. And I'll never forget, this wave's coming at me, and I hadn't surfed since I was about 17. And I turned around and paddled, and I stood up, and the energy that just surged through my body as I stood up on my board and rode that wave all the way down the beach, it was indescribable. I couldn't have planned a more picture-perfect day to come back out of prison and be with my family and be back out in this beautiful, society back out in Southern California. We didn't even plan that. It just happened spontaneously. And it was, man, it set the tone for my return. It was indescribable. I'll never forget that experience. So the reason I want to share that with you is the main thing, though, that stood out to me. Obviously, gratitude for what we take for granted, because when you're not locked up, you take the little things for granted, like the shirt you're wearing right now, being around your loved ones, hugging your sister like I got to, hugging your brother, being around people you love and truly appreciating it. And then, the bigger picture for me was that moment where all the guys yelled over to me and they wished me well on my journey. And I did not expect that. And I thought about that, and I thought about that ever since. And I was thinking, wow, man, my attitude, my effort every day, I focused on the things within my control. I gave my best effort to whatever I was doing. I did it with pride, and I showed people respect. I treated people the way I wanted to be treated. I was a gentleman, I was courteous, I was respectful, I had integrity. And these are the things out here that will put you at an advantage. These are the things that our younger generation, they're not being taught, man. I go order food out with my family or whatever, go get a coffee somewhere, and people don't even look you in the eyes. They won't even hold the door open. They don't show you that respect. And I was blessed because I had family members who had that old school demeanor, man. They talked about classroom respect all the time, and I was taught that from a young age. And if you show that respect to people, it'll stand out to them. And if you give your best effort, they're going to want you on their team, whether it's a job that you're looking to get, in a relationship, starting a new career, making more money, doing something in your life that's important to you, whatever it is, man. Those two attributes, no one can take that from you. And you continue to sharpen that every day, and it's going to elevate the quality of your life in everything that you do. I promise you that. So if you agree with me, you guys go ahead and drop some comments below. I know this video was a little longer. I'm fired up today. I'm feeling passionate. I'm feeling grateful, and I want to share this message with you. I'd love to hear your comments below. Let me know what you think, or if you have any questions, I will answer them personally. I hope you have an awesome day. Apply what I'm teaching. Apply what I'm sharing. It's going to add value to your life. I promise you that.
Welcome to Convicted Mindset. I'm your co-founder and co-host, Travis Richey.
And I'm Micheal Crane.
And we're here to make sure that you have the tips and the tricks and the resources necessary to lead the greatest life possible. We realized with our time spent incarcerated that some of the worst prisons in America were not made of concrete and steel, but were rather the limiting beliefs and the self-doubt and the mindset that didn't serve you to be the best human possible.
We want to take all of the strategies and learning lessons that we uncovered in our time of incarceration and bring those resources to people who feel stuck in their life right now. We've developed 4 pillars of self-mastery that cover mental, physical, spiritual, and financial well-being to give you access to that information so that you can apply it to your life. We've created a Convicted Mindset coaching program to literally walk you through those steps and give you 52 weeks of accountability and support so you can break through any limiting beliefs you have or stuck points in your life right now and really start creating that life 2.0 that you've dreamt of.
What we realized that while we were incarcerated was that access to real life-changing skills was scarce. And so what we want to make sure that we're giving to you are tangible step-by-step resources that help you physically, emotionally, spiritually, and financially to take you from where you are to where you know you deserve to be. Join us today at convictedmindset.com and help us level up the world to change 1 billion lives for the better.